Hi, my name's Heather Kuhn, and back in January I ran into some bad times and incarcerated, falsely arrested, exonerated of charges, and released. My children at the time were taken from me and placed with my mother through CPI and Eckerd. I completed everything, did everything I possibly could, complied with everything Eckerd wanted. The whole time they're telling me I have nothing to worry about. My children will stay together. They're on my side. Just complete my programs, complete everything. Push come down to shove. It came down to the father was supposed to do a batter intervention program because he beat his child black and blue in August, has felony charges pending. They let him take her out of state to New Jersey after saying he needed to do a 26-week course, that his attorney and the state attorney for Eckerd had a private meeting and it was excused. They have not done any of the proper paperwork.
Let me ask you this. You were saying that Eckerd gave you the stuff to do, and then...
Yes, Eckerd, when I was released out of Pinellas County, I went immediately to Eckerd's office and asked them, what do I need to do to get my children back? They had told me then, like every mother has to do, a 10-week parenting, a 10-week substance abuse. I ran around for an entire month from place to place, PAR, decisions, I forget the other name, but all these different places, directions, only for the people that Eckerd was sending me to say, no, that's not the right one. You have to go back, it's a wrong referral. So I go back to Eckerd, sit there. Nobody ever returns your phone call. No matter what you do, you literally have to sit in the office. And I was just back and forth, till finally the supervisor said, your caseworker's been messing up. They should have sent you here in the first place, only for me to get started a whole month afterwards while my caseworker is telling me that the father's not complying, only in the end to lose my oldest daughter after being promised that they were not going to split my
so this whole thing, the reason they took your children was because you were incarcerated for 45 days for something you didn't do.
Yep.
And then they apologized to you for incarcerating you.
Yep.
And now you got to go through all this to try to get your children
and I'm
back.
still having to go through it. And I had to spend 6 months I wasn't even allowed to live in my home. I was having to live on the streets, bouncing from place to place, being yelled at about stable housing because they wouldn't allow me to move back in with my mother and my children like I have their whole entire lives. So I'm having to try and support myself, my mother, and my children while having to couch surf.
Okay, so do you believe that Eckerd is trying to build your family or destroy it?
I think in a way they're trying to destroy my family. There's no sense in splitting up two children that have always been together and a father that's never been a part of her life.
It's amazing. It's just,
they tell you one thing and they do the exact opposite.
Have you seen the website rescuemykids.com?
On your sign, but I haven't looked at it personally.
Yeah. Well, once you hear all these other families, the exact same scenario to a T, where they're just using people for money. You are customers, and they don't care one bit about you, your children, or your family, but just using you as their customers to drag this on for a month of you trying to get your children back, and they just keep using you.
Oh, and they promise you all these free forms. Oh, you do it.
What's the caseworker's name?
Marina Stager.
And what's their supervisor's name?
Stacy Miller? Sarah Miller.
Sarah Miller. Okay, these are the people that are running. It used to be called Safe Children Coalition until they lost their contract for putting kids in drug houses and beating them and torturing them. And they're stealing people's children illegally without any probable cause, just like they did this woman here. And they made her life a living hell between her and her mother trying to get the children back. And now her daughter's out of state. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, with no ICPC, no safety plan signed, and
no background checks, no fingerprints. She's been up there for a week and nobody's even been there to check her home.
And no visitation.
She told me I talked to her.
Not allowed to leave without signing anything or having
didn't
ICPC
even sign
transfer.
The safety plan, and he was allowed to leave state with the child when he's got a
for
felony child abuse charge.
Born and raised in Florida.
See, you know what it is? They're using you guys for money.
Florida didn't protect their own child, basically. This child was born and raised here.
Yeah.
And she's been saying all along to everybody, I don't want to go. I want to be with my mom and my sister. She calls my mom Nana. I want to stay at home. I don't want to go with Daddy. The day I had to turn her in to her father, she was hiding underneath the desk. There was an altercation at the Eckerd office. An Eckerd worker had to physically remove my child from the father, and they still allowed her to leave without the safety plan, without the home being inspected. We don't even know if my child has a bed in New Jersey because nobody's bothered to follow up.
Yeah. Well, this is how evil they are. Their goal is to destroy the family. And it's just amazing. I mean, their goal is to divide you, your husband up, and to use you guys, to use your children as customers.
They get paid. That's how they get their bonuses, is to remove children and keep them out of the home. Whether they get placed with a family member or they get placed with
Strangers.
state worker, and their whole, oh, it's okay, we provide you with relative caregiver. My mom never saw a dime for taking care of my children. Lost her job, lost everything to fully comply with these people, and they're just like,
Yeah,
oh, wow.
it's a mess.
It's a
Ladies,
mess.
I want to thank you very much for
Thank
speaking
you.
out. Thank you very